The next step is to prepare the wires to build the thermocouples. And since we're building type T thermocouples, the wires we need are tungsten and copper. And these are the specifications for the tungsten wire. And for the copper, since there aren't any relevant details on my spool, the best I can do is to show you the specifications directly from the distributor. And I know you can also buy them from Amazon, though I don't know if the coatings are the same. One important detail about the magnet wire is that again is coated with a synthetic polymer that to be honest I don't even know how to pronounce, but I know that it's very hard to remove. I even tried using mech, but of course it didn't work. So the best way to remove that synthetic polymer is using a sharp object and to scrape it off. So cutting the wires can be very tricky, especially because of how small they are. It can be done on a one-by-one basis directly from the spool using a ruler, a metal ruler, and a sharp blade. You can see here, based on the marks on our ruler, that we've done it this way before. For a small number of sensors, cutting one by one might be a good solution. Another way is using wire cutters. If you have the ones that allow you to select the length of the wire, that might be a good option. But again, since the wires are so thin, they bend easily and getting the right length is not as easy as it might seem. We've used these in the past, but personally, for one reason or another, I got accustomed to these other ones. This particular one is at least 5 years old, if not more. And a feature that I really like from these wire cutters is this cutting blade here. And what I do is mark on its back the desired length and cut the wires in the following order. I'm going to use this much thicker copper wire just to demonstrate how I cut the wires. So first I feed the wires directly from the spool, hold on this side at the desired length, then hold the wire on the other side, then make a cut and repeat the process again. That's how I use this particular brand. I like it, it's quite durable. Another option that I often use when I need to cut several wires at once is using a PCB board. And what I do is I wrap the wire around it, as you can see here, and then using tape, I hold it in on its sides. Once it is like this, then using calipers, I measured the desired length at which I want to cut my wires, and then simply cut them with a sharp blade. And this is quite easy. So, but as you can see, a potential downside of using this approach is that the wire on the edges goes to waste. But if it takes me about 20 minutes to cut 100 or more wires this way, I believe that the time saving is well worth it. Time that I can use to scrape the magnet wires, of course, which by the way requires a lot of time, because we need to scrape one by one. The next step is to strip the wires. For the Constantan wire, I'm going to strip about 3 millimeters from one side and approximately 27 from the other. But of course you can adjust the measurements based on the specifications of your sensors. Now there are 2 and potentially 3 alternatives to strip these wires. The first one is using a sharp blade in a PCB board. And all you need to do is hold the wire in place using the PCB board and make sure that you're cutting at the desired length. You can do this using the system of your preference, which can be marks on a piece of paper similar to what I'm doing here. Okay, so the next step is to rotate the wire while we apply a very light pressure with the blade. Something like this. Now, it is important to make sure we are not applying too much pressure, because we can easily cut the wire. Sometimes they will look good, but then they break at the lightest movement in a later process. Now, on the same wire, I'm going to cut the other side. So it is very easy really using the PCB board. It helps a lot, and with enough practice we can know the exact amount of pressure we need to remove only the plastic cover without damaging the wire. The second option is using these wire cutters and pliers. In the wire cutters I'm using, I have marked the desired lengths that I want to strip. And all I do is, holding the wire firmly on one side, I simply apply a small pressure with the cutting blade and then just pull. The difficult part here, of course, is to make sure that the pressure is enough to cut the insulation. Alright, well, there you have him. Um, the first two methods to strip the Constantan wire, the one where we use the blade and the PCB board, and also using the wire strippers and pliers. So both of them are really good options. I believe it's all matter of what you like the most, or also based on the tools you have available. It seems like if you don't have wire cutters, the way to go is PCB board plus the blade. The third option that I personally haven't tried or used is using the those special wire strippers that heat up the insulation and remove it in a snap. But I don't know if there are any for wire strippers that would do that with this type, or with wires that are this small. It'd be worth looking into that. I'm sure it would save a lot of time if they work as they do with bigger cables and wires.